welcome back to the German Media on TV. I am the presenter Adam Njai, and today our current news affairs. We brought you the headlines on the Standard newspaper, and here headlines is as follows: Minister assaults transparency in mining sectors. Minister speak on fears of data price hike as internet providers struggle. Coup plot investigators submit their report. Those were our main stories, and now we read the news in details. Minister assaults transparency in mining sectors. As votes to ensure national. The Minister of Energy and Petroleum, Abdoulaye Diop, has assured the local and regional stakeholders of government's commitment to ensure transparency and accountability in this country's extractive industry. The sector has been bedeviled on allegations of lack of transparency and accountability by government and other private operators since the Jammeh dictatorship. Parliamentary and other inquiries have many times centered on establishing how much government is earning from the mining or who is mining what precious sand or stone, while local communities hosting mining sites have often complained of disproportionate compensation of any from mining companies, ravaging their environments, but addressing a 5-day multi-stakeholders consultative workshop on extractive industries, accountability organized by the National Audit Office in collaboration with the African Organization of English-Speaking Supreme Audit Institutions. Minister Diop said the government is committed to strengthening accountability and transparency in the industry. To safeguard accountability and transparency on revenue from the solid minerals, government has created a system that ensures that all the revenues generated from the mining and quarrying activities are paid into government central revenue system managed by the Accountant General's Department. These funds are also subjected to normal routines, government accounting and auditing office processed by the National Audit Office, he said. Minister Diop expressed hope that the outcome of the money engagement will provide tangible recommendations on the such needed requisite reforms to bring about change in the governance of Gambia's mineral resources for economic growth. He added that accountability is one of the building blocks of good governance, and a key requirement in transforming the country's natural resources into tangible and intangible capital for broader economic and social development. My ministry envisaged in its strategic plan to ensure accountability, transparency, equitable and optimal exploitations of the country's mineral resources to underpin broad-based sustainable growth and socio-economic development. He said that research has shown that there is a strong correlation between social cohesion, stability, and even conflict with how well such natural resources are governed. Consequently, he added, accountability in the extractive industry should be everybody's concern. So the government has put in place governance and regulatory mechanisms to ensure effective management of these valued resources by developing and enhancing institutional and legal framework, procedures, and building the requisite enhancing institutional and requisite competency to promote accountability in these two subsectors, he added. Diop further disclosed that the government has also created the environment that promotes the principles of openness and subject licensing applications to vigorous public scrutiny, which includes landowners' consents and compensations and environmental approval prior to the consideration of a mining quarrying license. Also, during the environmental impact assessment or phase of mining and quarrying projects, a wider stakeholder consultation, including local communities, are held to have more open transparency and public participation in decision-making prior to granting mining approval. He said the ministry has created several NGOs, CSOs as watchdog on the implementation of mining and quarrying licensing agreement to promote the protections of the environment, Minister Job added that the Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU, has been developed on royalty sharing from revenues generated from quarantine operations. Parties to this MOU include the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Local Government, and the National Environment Agency, and is aimed to consolidating transparency and accountability for greater revenue accountability and involvement of civil society by guaranteeing that 20% of the royalty from all quarantine operations is plowed back to the local community through the local government and council. He stated, addressing the meeting on behalf of the Auditor General, the Deputy Auditor General to Buadrame said the extractive industry are considered by most countries, including the Gambia, as potential catalysts for economic development, and there is a determined effort to develop the sector and to make it more attractive to investors. Therefore, the audit of extractive industry has received increased attention with the enthusiast community. He argued that poor governance and natural resources has often led to corruption and conflict. More transparent and public scrutiny of how wealth from a country's extractive sector is used and managed is necessary to ensure that natural resources benefit all. With good governance and transparency management, the revenues from the extractive industry can have an impact on reducing poverty while respecting community needs and the environment, he added. And ministers speak on fears of data price hike in internet providers struggle. According to the Standard newspaper, Bailamin Cham, he admit rising operation costs leading to a price hike of service in most sectors of the economy. Minister of Communication and Digital Economy has on Friday asked the nation would not work up one day to a hike in the cost of data. The cost of internet in the Gambia is already perceived to be high, but curiously, it is perhaps the only sector where prices have remained stagnant despite the heavy operation and material costs faced by internet providers. In response to these fears, at a press conference called by his new ministry, Minister Usman Ba said he has engaged the internet providers and they have expressed their concern about the escalations and in their infrastructural and operating costs. And we are willing to work with them on that. With all these sectors rising their price, how can we prevent or stop them from not rising their price? Well, I think the concern we are going is for them not to increase but to reduce the cost of internet, the minister said. He noted that compared to many places around the continent, Gambia has one of the most expensive data prices. For example, if what you pay for 1 gigabyte in the Gambia could be only 40% of that in Senegal, what are we doing wrong? He asked. He added that it was time that there is a regulation and policy that would enable private sector to be driving to growth. On the argument that data price is higher because the limited number of users in the Gambia as opposed to Senegal, where the user population is larger. Minister Ba admitted that volume is capital in the pricing, but the pricing system can be structured taking into consideration the volume of users between rural and urban areas where you have different income earning users. For example, we suggested that they could come with WhatsApp package as a marketing strategy, since most people, especially in the rural areas, use internet mainly for WhatsApp calls, he said. The minister also admitted that the cost of service and equipment have risen all over the world, but domestically, the Gambia government is responding by giving tax concessions without which most businesses would have fallen by the wayside. A leading internet provider told the Standard that Pura, the regulators are not open to setting different data price for the different places in the country. That was the news or the report from the Standard newspaper by the Minister of Communication and Digital Strategy. And coup investigators submit reports. On the Standard newspaper, by press release from the government of the Gambia by Ibrahim G. Sankare, according to the Standard newspaper, the Banjul, the Gambia Republic, the diplomatic and consular corps are informed that the joint investigative panel into the fuel coup plot against the legitimate government of President Adama Barrow has submitted its final report to the state on the 30th January 2023. Significantly, it can be recalled that the Ministry of Justice, the Gambia Armed Forces, the Gambia Police Force, and the State Intelligence Service was inaugurated on the 27th December 2022 to exhaustively, professionally, and impartially investigate the coup plot. Within their Monday 30-day assignment, investigators had testimonies from the 22 individuals, 17 military personnel, 2 police officers, and 3 civilians. Subsequently, 5 persons, namely Lance Corporal Sana Fadera, the accused ringleader of the coup plot, Petty Officer Jibril Davo, Corporal Ibrahim Sano, Corporal Umar Njai, and Police Sub-Inspector Fakeba Jawara were arraigned before the High Court in Banjul, presided by the Honorable Justice Basiru Mahoney, and charged with 4 counts of treason, concealment of treason, conspiracy, and inciting mutiny. The 4 accused soldiers and 1 police officer are to appear before the High Court on Thursday, 2nd February 2023, consistent with the due process of the law. Meanwhile, the hunt of Petty Officer Lamin Dadama in Interpol Red Alert continues. That was the report from the State House by the Standard newspaper through the government spokesperson Ibrahim G. Sankare. And now to recap on our main stories. Minister assures transparency in mining sectors. Minister speak on fears of data price hike as internet providers struggle. Coup plot investigators submit their report. That was our news today on Jamano Media TV, and I am your presenter Adam Ajay. Thank you for watching.